maybe we have to go back to why did we start Jccf? What is the vision that battered it? A lot of time on holiday, Dr. Kola would tell me not to go home. Just me and Doctor would drive around and do a lot of prayer. Because I remember several times they would call me in the night. Remember, there was no phone. They would come to me. My sister has been taken by court and they strip her naked and they are going towards this. All these places were forests that time, big forest. And then that night around 2 a.m., 3 a.m., I will pursue them with 1 or 2 or 3 brothers. And we'll be speaking in tongues as we're pursuing them. I'm not talking about the tongue that people do today. I'm talking about the tongue you want to see results. Most people don't know my story. For example, people think Futa is the first university I came to. That is not true. So by the time I came to Futa, I've dealt with cultism in other schools where I was coming from. But at that time, there was 2 problems that Futa had. There was a problem of Okay, my name is Kola Emiola. That's a big question, but all I know is that I was part of the formation because at that time, you have to understand that there are 2 largest fellowship on campus that time. The largest fellowship on that time was CCF, NIFES, followed by CAC, Youth Fellowship. So the other one were just coming, Rema, so many other closer, Believers Love Word. I don't know whether they're still on campus, Deep Alive, but those are the 2 major largest fellowships. So, but before that time, they've been pulling me, even before I become the president of that one, they've been pulling me because of what God is doing through me on campus, because at that time. So I would just say that I played the role every other person play. There's nothing so special. We just have honor and respect for one another. Okay, maybe we have to go back to why did we start Jccf? What is the vision that battered it? Number one, you have to understand that at that time, now most people don't know my story. I tell my children, I say my story is like Paul. If I don't tell you my story, I said I've read on many websites around the world that people write about me, and sometimes it's not 100% correct because they don't get all the people. For example, people think Futa is the first university I came to. That is not true. I'm part of alumni of 2 universities already. So they are pulling me from there. So by the time I came to Futa, I've dealt with cultism in other schools where I was coming from. So, but at that time, there was 2 problems that Futa had. There was a problem of cultism and problem of unionism, extreme unionism. Now, Futa was known to be Christian university, but there was an agenda from here. So then here come another union that people go to extreme. Futa that people used to call the University of Theology began to become the university where you don't finish your term, your semester on time, too much unionism, every little thing, you have to go on strike, you have to go on this. So these are the things that were happening at that time. Okay. Now, you have to understand that at that time, I don't know the number of fellowship on campus now, but what happened is that you have to know that people will have their denominational biases, doctrinal differences, and stuff like that. But what mattered was that after some month of praying, of meeting, of talking, people began to see the need for us to come together. So at the beginning, there are fellowship that feel like their members are not mature enough to come together with the entire body. So when we have meeting, they will send their leaders because those one cannot backslide. So, because you want what your pastor says is not good for you, the other pastor say, in fact, that is what is good for you. So those are the kind of problem. But with time, we know people understand and know that this is genuine. But again, God used some of them as well to be part of it. For example, you can never forget the work of Reverend last Sunday that we used to call Baba Revo that time. So you cannot, so people like that, Professor Fuak, all those kind of things. But the resistance was first of all doctrina. Some will tell you we have to talk to our leaders back home, which is, to me, which is honor. But again, sometimes you hear like, no, you can't join another fellowship. We don't believe in what they believe we do. So at the point now, then when people begin to understand that it is all about Christ, Then don't forget that time also there was this secret movement that was coming that we were praying about, trying to enter into Futa because Futa was too strong for Christianity that time. So they were trying to come. A lot of time on holiday, Dr. Kola would tell me not to go home. So just me and Doctor would drive around and do a lot of prayers around that time. So it was a strong thing that time because I remember several times they would call me in the night. Remember, there was no phone. They would come to me. My sister has been taken by cult and they've stripped her naked and they are going towards this. All these places were forests that time, big forest. And then that night around 2 a.m., 3 a.m., I will pursue them with one or two or three brothers. And we'll be speaking in tongues as we're pursuing them. I'm not talking about the tongue that people do today. I'm talking about the tongue you want to see results. Okay, one of the first things we did that time was that we consult other universities as well. Now, don't forget that UI already have something like that. OU already have something like that. Even I think UNIBEM might have something like that. So we consult other universities to understand how do they run it, and then you now try to adapt it to what is happening in Futa. So, for example, Futa at that time they said was having challenge of one of the problems we have that at the point that the school want to use against us was that they thought it's another fellowship. Like, no, okay, you are not registered. So there was one brother, Willie Atoyebi, something like that, that was the head of a student affair. He's a born again Christian, and we have to do a lot of work, to see that it's registered and recognized. So we didn't just pray about it. It's not just only prayer. We see what happened in other campuses and try to adapt it. Well, if I want to talk about that, I'm going to talk about two aspects. I'm going to talk about those who are not students and those who are students, because you have to. I'm not too good in history. Even now, I was telling them when we were coming, I said it take me a long time before I started doing my birthday. So even my children, I'm not too good in their birthday. They're the one that will tell me, Daddy, do you remember that I finished my master's? So that, okay, tell me, So, but we have to talk about first Dr. Kola Kimberboy. We have to, because that was that passion that doctor wants to see us pray. So there was that encouragement all the time from Dr. Kole Akimbowe coming. And it was a great encouragement. Number two, you talk about Reverend Lasende. You talk about Professor Kindele, Professor Fuakpe. I think one of them is your VC presently. Past, okay. So then you talk about brother William Atoyebi, something like that. That was his name that time, and many others that were non-teaching staff. All right, but you also, when you want to talk about student, we start from people like Brother Rotimi Aborishade of CCF. Knife is that time. They were pushing it. He was the president that time. They were pushing it. They couldn't get it finished before they also leave the school. Then you talk about Profemi Olufemi Ojo, who was also the president of CCF. Don't forget that I tell you that CCF was the largest fellowship on campus. And this is the deal. A lot of people from CCF go to Chapel of Faith on Sunday. That time, only very few go somewhere else. Now you talk about Brother Mike Ebenem, something like that. I forget it. He's of charismatic renewal, Catholic charismatic renewal, sadly born again brother. Then quite other few other people that were junior at that time that we could say play little would be Pastor, maybe not much, but Pastor Godman Afolabi. So they all were in my wedding. So those are the people that play the key role, and then I think myself also. So those are the key people I will mention. But I will give credit to all the president of fellowships, including Deeper Life, because after some time, some of them begin to see what we are trying to do. So I would say all of them, but these are the people that actually were going around, were working as a team and stuff. I believe that God is going to raise a generation that has had an encounter with God. You see, you can. I preached a message in America last year. I said you can minister healing from the place of the anointing, or you can minister from the place of commission. And I say it is easier when you know that God sent you. You know, I want to see more than what I saw on campus. I don't just want to see speaking in tongues. And I'll give you some testimony. When I was on campus, one professor, I won't mention name, every time he bought car, the following day the car engine would knock. Every time. So one of the lecturer now told him about me. Precisely, Professor Adejuibe of blessed memory. Now told that there's a student on this campus. You need to bring him to this issue. So I went there with one or two of my people. One of them is also a pastor with me today, my right-hand man. And then pray, anoint the car, that engine that just knocked. When I anoint the car, I went away. I said, tomorrow morning, start the car. Don't start it tonight. Don't bring the cry at the tail of every car knocked. The following Monday, as they kicked the car sounded. They went and opened the bonnet. A very big cat has died. Because before that time, every time they bought new car, the engine will be very hot the following day that the engine will knock. And that professor, I don't know whether he's alive or not, till that time I left, every student I have issue with him, I don't even need to go and see him face to face. I just need to write and sign. So people need to have encounter with God. So that is what the first thing I would tell people. You need to have encounter with God. Christianity cannot be my grandparent religion or my dad religion. It has to be a strong personal relationship. Like when you eat, you know you eat. So I will encourage today. I will not say that they're not doing much. And again, I don't know that some of you know about Latter Day Revival that happened out of Canada. Yeah, it's 70, late 60s, 70s, something. I was privileged, myself and my wife, to meet the only person that was left in that revival before the man died. I met the man and his wife when they were 90 years old in America, in Seattle, Washington State. And I asked him a question. I said, sir, what you see today compared to that time, is it a revival or not? And the man laughed and said to me, what we are having today is not revival, but it's better than not to have anything at all. He said today we have some spirit and some flesh. You know, so he said it's better than not to have spirit at all. So I would say that people need to press into the place of his presence more. You know, Futa, in those days when you come to Futa, you know you come to have an encounter with God. You can't escape it. You can't escape. I can give you testimony of miracles upon miracles, not just to students, but even to lecturers. I remember one DVC that I will mention them. Some staff that they employ in Futa, I just give note. Why? Because God uses us as students to pray for him and God rescue him from death. So I can tell you stories upon stories upon stories like that. So I will tell people that today leader need to have an encounter with God. Your encounter with God is what you take to people. Like I always say, only a free man can free others. So you have to have that genuine encounter. There must be that thirst for God. And it starts by being in the secret place. So I always tell in our church, you cannot be free. You have to belong to secret place or secret cult. You have to choose which one you want to belong to. Life is not fair. So you have to choose which area you want to fully belong to. So I will tell every leader on campus, because every generation needs an encounter with God on their own, that they can say, this is our own encounter with God. So every one of us need to have that personal encounter with God. Well, let me tell you, my hope is that God will produce from this place ministers that are well seasoned, people who can undo the word of life, with accuracy. Now, not just producing the word, but they produce the results, the evidence of the word. One of the things I tell people is that I don't like celebrating one miracle throughout the year. We just finished from Togo. We saw all kind of miracles in Togo. I said, but unfortunately, once you have money and you have television, you can show one miracle as if God has gone on holiday. I said, God wants to do that miracle every day. So I would say that my hope is that God will use this place to produce outstanding leaders that will shape Nigeria and shape Africa. Not just minister of the gospel, minister in the marketplace, every area of the sector of the nation. I want to see this generation here carry God very practical, very real, because there is so much on Nigeria. You can see in the recent, about a few days ago, it's like every nation is against Nigeria. Yeah. I think it's so that Nigeria can turn back to God. The Bible says they look unto him. They were lightened and they were not ashamed. So that is what I am trusting God to do for Jccf and the younger generation generally. That will not just, you see, this generation, you have better, you have more book, more resources, you have internet. I don't have internet that time. Everybody has mobile phone. I don't have mobile phone. You have all kind of, if I speak bad English, you can check it online immediately and get your answer quick. And but we must come to a place where we can enter into a place and say, God has entered. When we were in Togo this year, I was to pray with somebody and I said, no, don't worry, you're going to see miracle. In Togo this year, I was to, when we were in Togo this year, I was to, year, I was to, when we were in Togo this year, I was to, when we were in Togo this year, I was to, when we were in Togo this year, when we were in Togo this year, when we were in Togo this